The Arctic seems to tremble at the very moment the predator unleashes its explosive move, without roaring or spectacle, as a precisely calculated formation locks the target in place. Other rivals fight merely to survive, while orcas appear to assert dominance, showing that beneath the icy waters, true power lies not in muscle, but in intelligence operating like a perfectly tuned machine. This is an ocean where every mistake comes at a cost, and orcas are always the ones that compel others to make it. Orcas and dolphins are not strangers. They belong to the same dolphin family, share high intelligence, complex acoustic communication, and deeply bonded social structures. In many ocean regions, the two species occupy the same waters and sometimes even rely on overlapping food sources, routine encounters that sustain a fragile balance. Yet under certain ecological conditions, that balance can shift, giving way to caution, tension, and quiet calculation. In those moments, orcas fully leverage their advantages in size and endurance. An adult can weigh up to 12,000 pounds, along with group coordination refined across generations. One unit creates disruption, forcing the dolphin pod to scatter, while another approaches from deeper water, gradually narrowing the space for movement. Dolphins respond with speeds nearing 20 miles per hour and their signature agility, constantly changing direction while maintaining acoustic contact. But momentum quickly turns as the predators accelerate, applying precise pressure that isolates a separated individual and disrupts control. Across the vast ocean, even species matched in intelligence remain subject to nature's uncompromising rules, where there is no good or evil, only choices that determine survival. On the windless ice floes of the polar seas, seals may appear to hold the advantage. An adult can weigh up to 600 pounds, and a thick layer of blubber allows it to endure waters below 30 degrees Fahrenheit. For many orca populations, seals account for nearly 60% of seasonal energy intake. A rich, high-fat resource, but never an easy one to access. In this frozen environment, orcas do not rely on raw force alone. The hunt begins with patience. Scouts separate from the group, surface quietly, and survey each drifting ice floe. Once a target is identified, a call carries through the water, and the family gathers without delay. They line up side by side, spacing measured with precision from one body to the next. The group accelerates together. Carefully timed tail movements generate artificial waves strong enough to wash a seal from its refuge. When the ice is larger, subsurface swells weaken its structure. If the seal continues to hold position, the lead whale signals for the flow to be pushed into open water, where escape is no longer possible. The peak of the strategy is the use of bubbles. A tightening ring of air disrupts orientation and induces panic. Once the seal slips into the water, the outcome is nearly decided. Yet this is not merely an act of capture. In Antarctic waters, lead whales often slow the sequence on purpose, allowing young orcas to observe every movement. The final action is controlled and precise, not rushed, like a lesson passed down through many seasons of ice. In this frozen ocean, each hunt is not only about survival, but about memory carried from one generation to the next. Great white sharks have long been seen as symbols of raw power in the ocean. An adult can reach nearly 20 feet in length and weigh around 4,000 pounds. With an acute sense of smell and near-perfect reflexes, it moves calmly through open water, commanding enough presence that most other animals choose to keep their distance. Yet the ocean has never been ruled by strength alone. When orcas enter the scene, the familiar rhythm of the sea begins to shift. There is no chaotic charge. Orcas approach slowly and deliberately, exploiting a natural vulnerability of sharks. When turned upside down, the body enters a temporary state of immobility, losing coordination and control. The moment is brief. Orcas focus on the liver, the most energy-dense organ in the shark's body, rich in oil. The rest is often left behind, reflecting a strategy driven by efficiency rather than display. And across other stretches of ocean, new balances continue to form in silence, steadily shaping the world beneath the surface. In temperate and subpolar seas, where the ocean takes on a cold, deep blue, Chinook salmon are more than prey. They are a lifeline. For resident orca families, each mature salmon, rich in fat and protein, provides enough energy to support a massive brain weighing up to 15 pounds, along with the sustained endurance that defines these whales. The pursuit unfolds across the vast openness of the sea. Using highly refined echolocation, orcas quietly separate a single salmon from the flow, patiently guiding it toward shallow water or narrow channels, places where speed no longer offers an advantage. Then comes the decisive moment. A precisely timed tail strike sends a powerful disturbance across the surface, creating shockwaves that leave the fish disoriented and floating. The orca moves in, concluding the hunt with minimal energy expenditure. This tail strike technique is not simply a physical maneuver, but an application of water dynamics. When targeting stingrays, animals equipped with a dangerous barbed tail, orcas rely on the same approach. The non-contact impact induces disorientation, functioning like a natural form of sedation. This allows the orca to manage the situation safely without confronting unnecessary risk. For orcas, this represents the most refined form of hunting. Not a display of force, but a seamless alignment of intelligence, moving water, and knowledge passed down through generations. Sea lions, close relatives of seals, often haul out onto shorelines or rocky ledges near the water to rest, basking in a sense of temporary security. An adult can weigh over 800 pounds, equipped with powerful jaws and a bite strong enough to deter many threats. Yet it is this very boundary between land and ocean where safety is most easily compromised. Offshore, a pod of orcas holds position quietly in deeper water, tracking every movement. They are not drawn to numbers, but instead wait patiently for a small deviation. A young individual drifting too far, or a brief moment of separation from the group. When an opening appears, several orcas accelerate without warning, rising partially from the water and using the momentum of their massive bodies to close the distance in a single surge. A focused impact to the flank briefly disrupts the sea lion's sense of direction. Once drawn into deeper water, where sea lions gather densely to feed, danger is no longer theoretical. From two sides, the orca pod advances in formation, confining the target within an increasingly narrow space and completely cutting off any return to shore. Every movement is coordinated, unhurried, and controlled, a precise sequence led by a key individual and sustained through collective discipline. This encounter reveals a stark rule of nature. Places that appear safest can, at times, expose the most critical vulnerabilities. Humpback whales are among the largest and most striking mammals on Earth. Adults can exceed 50 feet in length and weigh up to about 88,000 pounds, symbols of gentle strength and epic migrations spanning thousands of miles. Their powerful breaches and long, resonant songs have made them icons of ocean freedom. Yet as calves appear more frequently, the ocean also presents moments of vulnerability, drawing the attention of highly adaptive hunters like orcas. In rare encounters, the focus is not on the immense adult, but on a mother-calf pair traveling together. Rather than moving in directly, orcas keep a measured distance, quietly observing the mother's swimming rhythm and defensive responses. They approach in turns, swimming close behind the calf and creating familiar currents and movements, subtle enough to blur the line between protection and risk. As fatigue builds and orientation becomes disrupted, the calf gradually drifts from the protective circle without immediate awareness. That moment marks a shift in the balance of survival, where the orca's intelligence, patience, and strategy turn the open ocean into a trap without visible walls. In documented encounters involving gray whales, orcas have been observed focusing on energy-rich tissue, demonstrating a targeted and efficient approach rather than prolonged engagement. No roaring, only pack discipline. Wolves enter the hunt like a cold blade. In the forest's shadow, their strength lies in steadily tightening pressure, driving the prey toward exhaustion. They cut off escape routes, divide roles, and shift the pace of pursuit like a living machine. The chase accelerates, endurance worn down mile after mile across frozen ground. And when the circle finally closes, the reason becomes clear why the most unsettling force is the silence before the final convergence. Wolves represent the power of the pack, a predator that dominates nearly every North American landscape, from the frozen regions of Alaska to the open plains of Wyoming. Weighing between 80 and 110 pounds and reaching nearly 5 feet in length, their bodies are built for endurance in temperatures that fall below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. But their decisive advantage does not lie in physical size. It lies in a formation that operates as a single, unified system. Each individual moves in precise coordination, applying constant pressure through long pursuits that can stretch across miles. In the natural world, wolves succeed through discipline, not through chaos. In the snow-covered mountain forests and valleys of North America, elk stand as symbols of strength and vigilance. A fully grown adult weighs around 700 pounds, with long legs and large lungs that allow sustained movement across steep terrain and deep snow. Above their heads, broad, multi-point antlers serve both as a sign of maturity and as a formidable defensive tool, forcing predators to keep their distance. But dense forests and soft snow give wolves the advantage. They do not attack immediately. Instead, they shadow the elk herd, applying pressure through short advances to test reactions. Gradually, the focus shifts to the slowest individual, an adult bull weakened by an injury to a hind leg. In response, the elk moves toward an icy river where restricted terrain limits speed and turns the antlers into a final line of defense. The wolves remain patient, holding back as time and cold steadily drain the elk's strength. The pursuit ends when exhaustion takes over. In the valleys of Yellowstone, a vital winter refuge for elk, winter transforms the landscape into a struggle for survival. Wolves hunt with strategy, using the speed and endurance of younger members to concentrate pressure on vulnerable targets. In short bursts, they can reach speeds close to 35 miles per hour, rapidly closing the gap. Within minutes, the chase concludes, providing essential sustenance for the entire pack. Yet not every success comes from direct pursuit. At times, chance favors the wolves. A lone elk wanders into bison territory and becomes caught in confusion as the larger animals react. The wolves wait silently. When the bison move on, leaving behind an exhausted elk, the predators step forward to claim the opportunity, a victory shaped by patience, terrain, and perfectly coordinated instinct. Bison are the resilient giants of the North American plains. With massive bodies weighing up to 2,000 pounds, they possess the strength needed to endure brutal winters. When deep snow blankets the land, bison are forced to use their powerful neck muscles and shoulders rising nearly 6 feet high to push aside snow each day, exposing scarce patches of dry grass to sustain life. But as hunger and cold gradually drain the herd's strength, another threat quietly emerges against the white landscape. It is a wolf pack of roughly 25 individuals, led by an experienced alpha, entering the hunt. As the bison move into open ground in search of safety, the wolves begin to spread out, carefully testing the strength of the defensive wall. Armed with sharp horns nearly 12 inches long, the bison stand ready to repel any reckless approach, forcing the predators to hesitate and pull back time and again. Yet persistence is the wolf's most dangerous weapon. The pack maintains constant pressure, spreading confusion through coordinated vocalizations and feigned advances, slowly weakening the defensive formation. In the chaos of the stampede, a young calf is unintentionally separated from the protective ring and immediately left exposed. Through relentless coordination and precise timing, functioning like a living machine, the wolves wear down the massive opponent through a prolonged battle of endurance. The final outcome provides vital nourishment for the pack over many days, while reinforcing the harsh yet awe-inspiring rhythm of nature, where survival is always earned through extraordinary effort. This is not merely a hunt, but a high-level contest of survival between species that have evolved alongside one another for thousands of generations. At the forest's edge, where wind-scoured snow hardens into icy ridges, a tense standoff begins between two symbols of dominance. An adult grizzly weighs around 660 pounds, with claws nearly 4 inches long, and a single swing is enough to force any challenger to retreat. Facing that raw power, The lead wolf understands that closing in is a calculated risk. But walking away would mean the entire pack endures another freezing night without food. The bear is strongest in a straight confrontation, but the tight space between brush and fallen timber favors agility. The wolf does not rush into direct conflict. It draws attention with controlled advances, then pulls back at precise moments. 3 other wolves peel off to the sides, creating just enough disturbance to keep the bear turning, slowly breaking its focus. With one brief opening, the pack shifts without a sound. The wolf holding attention maintains the pressure, while the others seize the opportunity to secure food and retreat beyond reach. On the snow, overlapping tracks trace a tactical pattern left behind. In the wild, strength forms the wall. Strategy opens the door. As winter tightens its grip, survival belongs to those who coordinate and read the moment. And the next encounter is always waiting just beyond the turn of the wind. Across the frozen tundra of North America, massive caribou herds move silently like a living current. They are a cornerstone of the tundra ecosystem, carrying out migrations that span hundreds of miles and forming herds that can number in the hundreds of thousands. Each adult weighs around 700 pounds, with wide, splayed hooves that function like snowshoes, allowing them to cross ice and sustain remarkable endurance throughout the unforgiving journey. Yet that very endurance makes caribou a critical winter target for wolves. Cold winds carry the scent of individuals beginning to weaken. Instinct quickly draws the predator's focus toward calves or aging members whose energy is fading. Hunting caribou demands immense effort, so wolves are forced to select targets that can be brought down efficiently. The encounter begins when uneven terrain stretches the herd's formation and breaks it into smaller groups, the exact moment the predators wait for. Wolves actively create disruption, turning the herd's unity into scattered fragments. In the confusion, vulnerable individuals gradually become exposed. The wolves close the distance, delivering precise pressure at critical weak points while skillfully avoiding defensive movements that could prove fatal. In the end, instinct and endurance secure the wolf's success. This food source sustains the entire pack, nourishing younger members waiting in sheltered areas. But on the tundra, there is no absolute ending, only the continuation of the survival cycle, where the close of one pursuit becomes the beginning of another. In the unforgiving far north, where food is as scarce as warmth itself, the survival of a wolf pack, especially its young, depends on discipline and precise coordination. To raise the pups before snow returns, these gray hunters must scan territories spanning hundreds of square miles, where even the faintest scent carried on the wind can mean hope. Today's target is the Arctic hare, an athlete of the ice capable of reaching speeds close to 37 miles per hour, highly abundant and remarkably adapted to the cold. Even when temperatures fall below -40 degrees Fahrenheit, its white fur allows it to nearly vanish against the snow. The chase is not simply a test of speed, but a contest of strategy. A single sharp zigzag turn allows the hare to change direction and slip away in an instant. Immediately, the wolves adjust their approach, splitting into two flanking paths, cutting off escape routes and forcing the prey into a narrow corridor. Persistence and calm, synchronized movement gradually shift the balance toward the hunters. The reward may be small compared to the size of the pack, but it provides vital energy to endure the winter and sustain the next generation. In the vast cold, wolves understand one truth. Survival does not belong to the strongest, but to those who know when to rely on one another. The ocean has never belonged to solitary strength, but to those who understand the unseen rules beneath the surface. For viewers who wish to continue following true stories of intelligence, survival, and balance in the wild world, a like is a way to support this journey. And when you subscribe, the next chapters of the ocean will unfold without leaving them behind. Because every follow leaves a small trace, helping nature's voice be heard a little longer.